Dear students, Sai Ram, in the previous session we discussed Ghulam dynasty and Khilji dynasty, and one more dynasty, a prominent dynasty of Delhi Sultans, are Tughlaq dynasty. Today we are going to see Tughlaq dynasty. Tughlaq dynasty was founded by Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq. Tughlaq dynasty. It was founded by Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq. Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq. Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq. And he maintained peace and order in Delhi by implementing liberal administration policies. He strengthened the border to prevent Mongol invasions. See, during the period of these Delhi Sultans, Mongol attack and Mongol invasion were common. So Balban strengthened his force, as well as many other Ghulam rulers are also tried to protest these Mongol invasions. Here, Ghiyazuddin strengthened the border to prevent Mongol invasions. He built irrigation canals for the benefit of the farmers and lowered the taxes. He established the postal system consisting of horsemen and runners. Dear students, I used to ask some questions while the lesson. These questions for reference and revision, as well as for Vidyagama, for everything. You please note down those questions and try to answer all the questions in proper way. Okay, now who is the founder of Tughlaq dynasty? How did Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq prevent Mongol invasions? How did Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq support the farmers? How did Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq support the farmers? What were the reforms? What were the reforms in the postal system done by Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq? See, these questions to be noted. And he built Tughlaqabad fort near Delhi. Okay, he conquered Madurai, Warangal, and maintained law and order in Gujarat and Bengal also. The other important rulers of the dynasty are Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Tughlaq. Today we are going to see Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He is a colorful ruler of Delhi Sultan, that is none other than Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Dear children, he is known for various developments as well as some funny decisions. That is Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He was not a poor king. He was a very intelligent king, but his policy degraded and eroded his name and fame. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. And he was a scholar. See, he was a scholar of Persian and Arabic language. Persian and Arabic language. Yes. How can you say Muhammad bin Tughlaq is a scholar? He was proficient in Arabic and Persian. He was an expert in mathematics, physics, medicine, Persian poetry, astronomy, and other subjects. Now my question is, how can you say Muhammad bin Tughlaq is a scholar? Answer is very simple. He was a scholar of Persian and Arabic language, and he was an expert in medicine, mathematics, physics, astronomy, Persian poetry, and other subjects. That's why we can say he is a scholar. In that way we can say, question, note down that question. How can we say Muhammad bin Tughlaq is a scholar? Though he was a man of knowledge, he had a few abnormalities in his personality. That is the funny thing. That is the funny thing. Though he was an intelligent scholar, he was good at medicine, astronomy. See, he's not an ordinary man. Very competitive king. But what is the abnormalities? Let's go through those. But he was thinking ahead of his time, often centuries ahead. That is why we can say he is a very intelligent ruler of Delhi Sultan. See, his thoughts were 100 years of ahead. He was thinking ahead of his time, often centuries. But his officials neither had the integrity nor the maturity to implement his plans. They were very poor in implementing. Who? His officials. He was ahead of century. Now we are going to see the administrative reforms of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Administrative reforms. Yes. See, he brought about changes in administration. An official record that had all the details of lands of empire was implemented by him. Today, present government, the democratic government, 20th century government are having all the details of its land. In the similar way, during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, an official record was maintained, with details of land of entire empire. He established a department of agriculture. The uncultivated lands were made cultivable. Various schemes were implemented to provide financial assistance to the farmers. See, he also farmers friendly. See, he provided various schemes and implemented various financial assistance to the farmers. Farmers were backbone of the economy in those days, and even current trend also. Farmers are the backbone of Indian economy. In the similar way, he supported the farmers. These are all the administrative reforms of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. My question is, explain the administrative reforms of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. In that revenue reforms, an official record that had all the details of the lands of the empire was implemented by him. That is revenue important. And here he established a department of agriculture. The uncultivated lands were made cultivable. How? See, uncultivated lands means due to drought, due to lack of irrigation facilities, they could not carry out agriculture. In such a cases, he converted those uncultivated lands into cultivable. Okay, already I mentioned he had some abnormalities. What is that? Now we are going to see shifting of his capital. What? Shifting of his capital. Muhammad bin Tughlaq shifted his capital from Delhi to Devagiri. Why did he shift the capital from Delhi to Devagiri? Why did he shift the capital Delhi from to Devagiri? Yes, there are two main reasons behind this. To establish the capital city at the center, first point. Why? At the center place. It becomes convenient to go each nooks and corner of the state. That is why he chose center place of his territory, of his kingdom. That was the first reason. And protect the capital city from foreign invasions. First one is center place. And second one is to protect. It was very common that invading of Mongols. That is why, see, Mongol region, Delhi was very close to northwest part. That is why he shifted his capital from Delhi to Devagiri to protect the capital. As a result, innumerable common people suffered severely. He ordered, at the same time he ordered the people, the Delhi people must go to Devagiri, Devagiri people must go to Delhi. Most unscientific decision which was taken by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. See, today, it was 500, 600 years back. In that time, people did not have proper transportation facilities. People went by barefoot. They walked. Some of the people reached, those who had facilities. Some were died in the middle. When he realized the danger, when he realized the mistakes, he once again, he ordered reshifting of capital. Due to that, he had to be borne a huge loss to his treasury. Okay, shifting of capital is one of the blunders, the most unscientific decision, and reshifting of capital was also one of the blunder and unscientific decision. As a result, innumerable common people suffered severely. Another administrative reform, one of the administrative reforms was experiment of symbolic coin. This is also one of the blunders committed by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Though he was a scholar, an intelligent, a knowledgeable person, and though he was good at astronomy, mathematics, see, mathematics is mother of all science. Those who are good at mathematics are called as intelligent because it helps them to reasoning and some other attitudes and aptitudes. But what about Muhammad bin Tughlaq in this case? Now we are going to see experiment of symbolic coin. Experiment of symbolic coin. What is this symbolic coin means? And what was the blunder he committed in this case? Symbolic coins. Yes. See, in the beginning, the value of money, value of currency was made adjusted to gold and silver coins. For example, 1 dinar, 1 adli. What is this dinar and adli? Later I will tell you. The value of 1 dinar containing the gold coin containing the same value. For example, what today I have, the face value, the rupee value. But if you think this 500 rupees, how much paper cost is, I don't know exactly, maybe 5 or 10 rupees. But when it comes to dinar and adli, if it is 500 rupees coin, it contained the value of 500 rupees gold. It was containing 500 rupees gold. That system was prevailing early days of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. What I am going to say, this is nominal. Yes, the value of money currency was made adjusted to gold and silver coins in circulation of his time. So he brought gold coin named dinar. Dinar. Have you heard this word? Dinar is gold coin. Gold coin. And adli was silver coin that was introduced by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. My question, which were the two coins introduced by Muhammad bin Tughlaq? Answer is very simple, dinar and adli. Dinar is gold coin and adli is a silver coin. Which were the two coins introduced by Muhammad bin Tughlaq? This coin were aesthetically designed. Aesthetically means Kannada in Kannada. ಕಲಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ. ಕಲಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ, aesthetically. Those coins were aesthetically designed. Aesthetically designed. Those coins means dinar and adli. After few years, when he felt the shortage of gold and silver, after few years, the copper and brass coins were pumped into the circulation. That means brought into circulation symbolically. See, when he introduced it, 500 rupees coin, for example, it contained 500 rupee valued gold. But now he, instead of for 500 rupees, now he introduced brass coin and copper coin. 500 rupees valued, not valued. That is, brass and coin were also brought into circulation. That is symbolically. It was not containing the value of 500 rupees. ಈಗ 500 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ 500 ರೂಪಾಯಿಯ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಿತ್ತು. ಯಾವುದರಲ್ಲಿ? ದಿನಾರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ. 500 ರೂಪಾಯಿಯ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ನಾಣ್ಯ ಅಂದರೆ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮೊತ್ತದ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಅದರ ಒಳಗಿತ್ತು. ಆದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬದಲಾಗಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ he introduced copper and brass, but it is symbolically. What happened this? See, economics is entirely different. If you commit a small mistake in economics, you'll find a disaster 100%. Whatever you achieve in science, a small improper plan can lead to disaster. That happened in the case of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Though he was good at mathematics, he could not understand the pulse of the people. He could not understand the future of the coin system. He could not understand the future of symbolic coin. But today we are launching, so see, what we have, this is symbolically. But there is an authority, that authority has monopoly over issuing the currency, that is none other than Reserve Bank of India. But in those days, what happened in those days? In those days means during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, what happened? When he introduced copper coin, brass coin, Ranga, Mullah, Imam Sahib, everyone, they converted their vessels into coin. ಅವ್ರ ಪಾತ್ರೆಗಳನ್ನು ತುಂಡು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಮನೆಯಿಂದಲೇ. ಏನಾಯಿತು? Too many money pumped into circulation. What happens when too many money pumped into circulation? What happens? That results in what? Inflation. In economics, it is called inflation. What happens? See, there is a quotation, when means the inflation. What do you mean by inflation? The situation where too many money chasing too few goods are called inflation. The similar situation happened in the case of symbolic money. Then minting coins was not vested with the government. As I mentioned, today Reserve Bank of India has monopoly over issuing the currency. In those days, the minting coin was not vested with the government alone. Families who had traditional rights to mint coins were also there. Some people had traditional rights to issue the coin. ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಏನಾಯಿತು? ನಾಳೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಹಣ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೇನ್ರಿ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವ? ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದಿದ್ರೆ ಗದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭತ್ತ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತೇನ್ರಿ? ಭತ್ತ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ರೆ ಮರು ವರ್ಷ ಊಟ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೇನ್ರಿ? ಇದು ಒಂದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಅಲ್ವೇನ್ರಿ? ಕಾಮನ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್. ಅದೇ ಆದದ್ದು ಇವನ ಕೇಸಿನಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ. Yes, then minting, the coins were minted more than required number without the permission of Sultan. This resulted in chaos. ದುರಂತವಾಯಿತು, ದುರ್ಘಟನೆ ಆಯಿತು. Chaos. Sometimes we pronounce chavos. This is not a chavos, chaos. It has to be pronounced as chaos. Okay. The state treasury became empty due to costly administrative experiments, severe drought, and the shifting of capital city. The process of relocating the capital back are the measures which he had taken during his administrative reforms. Some are blunder, some are good. Some are good means he provided loans and other facilities, financial assistance for the farmers and irrigation facilities for the farmers, and moreover he was ahead of his officers. Officers were not up to him. They were not up to him. Now let us move to his Deccan policy. Dear children, though he was failure in shifting the capital and the symbolic money, he was a valiant ruler, a good administrator. By seeing at his Deccan policy, we can realize how Muhammad bin Tughlaq became a capable leader. Today we are moving to see the Deccan policy. The Deccan Plateau Deccan policy. Muhammad bin Tughlaq implemented his administration in the areas where he conquered in Deccan. Deccan means most of the Delhi sultans ruled over northern regions. Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and some parts of Jammu and Kashmir and Lahore, Pakistan region were under their control. But they did not concentrate towards Deccan region, because Deccan region somewhere it is very, after crossing Vindhya, Satpur and these regions, they have to reach southern. And it was far-flung region. Means it is very difficult to control Deccan state from Delhi. Today we have administrative mechanism, proper channel, proper system, road transport and other means of transports. But in those days they had to go through horse, some other means of cattle. So it was not easy to reach Deccan region as early as possible. There was no quickest means of transport. So they felt it was tough to rule. But Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he implemented his administration in Deccan. He had conquered Warangal of Kakatiyas. It was the capital city of, Warangal it was the Kakatiyas capital, Kakatiyas. And second one is Dwarasamudra from Hoysalas. Then Madurai from Pandyas. Madurai is known for, Madurai Meenakshi, Kanchi Kamakshi, Dwarasamudra. Do you know the name of Dwarasamudra? Halebeedu. Warangal, the capital of Kakatiyas. He also destroyed Dwarasamudra, the capital city of Hoysalas. The Madurai of South India was conquered. Later, Jalaluddin Hasan Shah was named as the governor of Madurai. Who? Jalaluddin Hasan Shah was named as the governor of Madurai. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the first Delhi Sultan to establish vast empire in India. He was the first Delhi Sultan. Muhammad bin Tughlaq organized a big army. There were 27 rebellions. 27 rebellions took place during his realm, during his last 11 years especially. These rebellions led to the rise of Vijayanagara and Bahmani kingdoms. That is why he organized a big army. And what led to rise Vijayanagara and Bahmani kingdoms? Note down the question. Which situation led to the rise of Vijayanagara and Bahmani kingdoms? 1. Who became the governor of Madurai? Answer is Jalaluddin Hasan Shah. Which were the mention the regions conquered by, the Deccan regions conquered by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Warangal of Kakatiyas, Dwarasamudra of Hoysalas, Madurai of Pandyas. Answer is very simple. Then list out the reasons for the failure of symbolic coin. And which were the 2 coins introduced by that you know? Okay, later Tughlaq. Now we are going to see after Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, who ascended the throne after the demise of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. That means after Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Firoz Shah came into position. Firoz Shah was also one of the talented ruler and progressive ruler. Firoz Shah implemented numerous people-friendly policies. He waived off Takkavi loan. That is very nice. See, actually, it was burden on the part of farmers during the time of Delhi Sultans. Takkavi was the loan, and it was huge loan and a heavy loan. They could not bear the Takkavi loan. That is why he waived off. Waived off means Salamanna. Salamanna Madida. Yaru. Who made it? Firoz Shah. Who came after Muhammad bin Tughlaq? Answer is simple. Firoz Shah. He launched many people-friendly policies. And the private mines used to be taxed, and also tax were collected providing irrigation facilities. There were so many private mines, they were paid tax, they were made to pay the tax. And he provided irrigation facilities to the agricultural land with lump sum taxes. That means he collected taxes for providing irrigation facilities. He abolished around 20 different taxes along with the Takkavi and others. See, there were so many taxes, actually people could not bear. See, those are all not a progressive taxation system in those days. Taxing means for each and every one tax should pay the tax. That is not a progressive tax. That is called regressive tax was in practice. Yes, then Jodhpur, Fatehbad, Hisar, Firozabad were the few important cities built by him. Mention the cities built by Firoz Shah. Or which were the cities built by Firoz Shah? Answer. Then dharmashalas were built for the benefits of the travelers. These were all the very progressive and people-friendly works undertaken by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Firoz Shah. I hope, dear children, you might have gone, you'll go through the video and ask so many questions. You'll answer and note down them in your notes. While coming, you don't forget to bring Sai Ram.